Welcome to another video by Pharos Technology. Today we need to put a few points together. Let's recap what we've talked about in the last 3 blockchain videos that we've posted here. We talked first about the 5 key elements of a blockchain: distribution, encryption, immutability, tokenization, and decentralization. Now those are key elements that need to be in a blockchain to get the full benefits of what blockchain is supposed to offer to a business. But we also found that businesses have certain value in commodities or products or information that they own. So we talked about the 4 business currencies in the next video, talked about data and about access to information. We talked about the contracts that control or govern the transactions that happen in a blockchain. And then we talked about technology and how different technology companies are vying for their piece of the pie and vying to try to build blockchains for companies. Then we talked about the potential for archetypes to develop, especially in the early emphasis on blockchain. We talked about FOMO, which was the fear of missing out. Okay. Then we talked about the Trojan Horse. We talked about the fact that companies, if they create a centralized blockchain, those strong companies may require other people to join that blockchain in order to do business with them. And by that, just that interaction, they can obtain data from suppliers or from others that join that blockchain. And in that way, could become a Trojan horse. We talked about opportunistic blockchains, a blockchain that was just kind of there, and they decided to use that technology because they needed to replace an old system anyway. So opportunistic, it was adopted simply because it was there. Then we talked about evolutionary, those blockchains that start out as though they're centralized and not quite full, complete blockchains, but they were built in the beginning to try to evolve into a full blockchain with tokenization and with decentralization. Now remember, incomplete blockchains at first are going to not include tokenization, and they're probably not going to be decentralized. Remember the key point of decentralization, because that's going to be the point that we talk about most in this particular video. Because decentralization means that the governance of the blockchain is not governed by one entity. It's decentralized among several entities. In other words, no one company has control of the data, and not one company has control of the governance of the blockchain. So they don't have control of the contracts. Okay. Now remember, one of the currencies in a business was that they would have access to the data. Of course, it makes sense for a company to create a decentralized blockchain and force everybody that does business with them to join it, because then they can capture all that data, thus creating a Trojan horse sort of motivation. So what we want to talk about is, if we're going to create blockchains that are complete and have all of the features and have full benefits of all that blockchain has to offer, how are companies going to start working with competitors even to create such a thing? So let's talk about a few possibilities. At first, energy companies will get together, and we're going to call these industry-centric collaborations or partnerships and cooperation. The Energy Foundation in Switzerland is one good example where they put together the energy supply chain, but it was centralized there in the energy sector. Another blockchain was built for the blockchain insurance industry, and they called it the Blockchain Insurance Industry Initiative, creative name there. It was European in purpose, and it created a blockchain that reinsurers could insure other insurers and back them up. Companies rarely keep all of the liability when they insure a property. So out of $100,000 that you might get insurance for your home, $70,000 or $80,000 of that is going to be insured by somebody else, who then insures the insurer against a total loss. So one company doesn't take the total bill. Well then, The Mobility Open Blockchain Initiative coalesced around the automotive supply chain. So what we're going to see is we're going to see industry-centric solutions at first. They're not going to be blockchain complete yet, because a lot of times this group will get together and they'll there'll be one head company and the suppliers for that company, or they'll be in the nonprofit sector, and those are easy to kind of pull together, especially if they're all under one umbrella, like in Switzerland, for example. So let's talk about the second possibility, and that would be kind of a geographic bent towards it. So we have one example in Belgium where the Isabel Group created a blockchain to simplify and ease transactions in the Belgian area for banking. We have another fintech association, or such as it's called, and it did the same thing for Russian central banking. Well, you see that both of these were very centralized in both of those countries. And you'll notice also that they were very industry specific as well. So a geographic focus might also have an industry focus as well. So let's look at the third possibility, and that's about technology. Now, there's a lot of companies out there like Oracle and IBM and various companies that we talked about in the last video that are trying to vie for the business budget of companies who want to build blockchains. And they're going to coalesce around certain technologies. They'll rally around a platform like Hyperledger, for example, or Enterprise Ethereum Alliance to use their technology and their blockchains that they've built already and have some base code for, and they'll promote those and bring those forward. The challenge with these is that when Oracle or IBM or another company such as that builds a blockchain just for one specific company, that one specific company and their provider don't really have a whole lot of incentive to bring other competitors to that company into the marketplace. So watch for blockchain incomplete ones that are just rallied around a technology. And the last one I want to talk about in this fourth item is that they'll coalesce around a business process. Like, for example, the Maritime Blockchain Labs is focusing on the security of crew selection for ship crews. So they'll coalesce around a process of selecting the crew for oil tankers and cargo container shipping and such as that. There's the Ant Financial Partnership, which Alibaba uses to track foodborne illnesses and foodborne companies, similar to what Walmart did with their food blockchain, where they wanted to track in the US any foodborne illnesses and track to the source really quickly. So they'll coalesce around a business process. So what you have is four basic types of consortiums getting together, partnerships developing, that are going to coalesce around industry-centric blockchains or geographic areas or technology or different business processes. These different blockchains will focus in those areas. They probably won't be compete, but the big advantage of these blockchains and for the people who get together and collaborate on these type of blockchains is a lot of learning will take place. A lot of just get in the weeds sort of how does a blockchain work, how do we develop it, and how do we move forward with deploying a blockchain. We hope that by about the year 2023 or so, we start seeing blockchain complete solutions, more like the university that I highlighted in the last, Wolf University, where it created it from the ground up, their whole idea and philosophy, while it's a blockchain incomplete solution right now, is focused towards becoming a complete solution as they have other universities join in with that blockchain. So I hope you've gotten a little bit out of this video, and I hope to see you again. Thanks. I want to thank you so much for viewing this video. We have great content on the site, and I'm putting more content out every single day. There's a link to one of them on the side of the screen over here. Also, please help me grow the channel by subscribing. So hit that subscribe button a little bit lower on the other side of the screen, and hope to see you again. Thanks.